This week, updates from TexPlex, future racing events from AXCC and other series, and coronavirus-inspired madness and cancellations. Strap in as we bring you up to the race pace. Race Pace, sponsored by the coronavirus. I mean CW Motorsports. I'm Doug.
And I'm Chad.
And as you may have guessed, there's not a lot to talk about this weekend in the racing world because pretty much everything that could have happened has been canceled or postponed.
Yeah, man. Coronavirus. I'm not going to get into too much political stuff with everybody and all my thoughts on it, but it's sure making a mess of the racing season.
It really, really is. In fact, the only thing that didn't get rescheduled because of the coronavirus was Lucas Oil, their off-road series, their short course series specifically, was rescheduled due to weather.
Yeah, that's nice.
The weather got to it before the coronavirus, but otherwise it probably would have been delayed because of that anyways.
Yeah, it's a mess, but whatever. It is what it is. You know, stay safe, don't die, things like that.
Things like that. It looks like the next Lucas Oil event is going to be on Saturday, April 25th, so we've got a little bit of time before the next one kicks off there. Yep. Chad and I were actually supposed to go to, not Monster Jam, but the Monster X Tour, which is the probably a little less popular but still competitive series with Monster Jam. So Same thing, big trucks running over small stuff. That was going to be next weekend, which would be the, what does it look like, 21st and 22nd. Yeah. That has been rescheduled with no date given yet. Just, we know it's not happening on the 21st.
Yeah.
The reason we were going is because we were going to be doing some racing during kind of the halftime event. But
yeah, they do like an intermission. You know, you've seen where they have the tough trucks and they have the quad races. Well, they're bringing in side-by-sides for some of their shows. And I think it's like knockout style racing. You race one other guy and, you know, kind of advance to the next round type thing.
We say knockout. Do you get to actually like physically force them off the track and then you win?
I can I will or won't confirm that may have happened.
That's the kind of racing I'm all of a sudden very interested in.
Yeah. I was really looking forward to that. I was excited. That was going to be a ton of fun, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. But that, I mean, Monster Jam, I looked at their schedule, and they were pushing events that were scheduled in April all the way back to August.
Right.
So,
well, probably they have a pretty tight schedule normally, from what I've heard of guys who've done stuff with them.
Yeah.
So if a date gets pushed or canceled, they can't just slide all the ones behind it back. They basically have to take the one that got canceled and slide it to the end of the line, or find a hole somewhere in between where they can fit it. And that's how they go about it. So I understand that it's sliding out a long way back, but...
Well, and the setup there is pretty extensive. I mean, it's not like they're just bringing in 2 cups of dirt and throwing it on a field. I mean, that's... Right. There's a lot that has to happen to make that work, and they have to work around sporting schedules and everything else because they're holding these in venues that typically have schedules booked out, I would guess, at least a year in advance, if not more.
Oh, yeah. So, it stinks. It's how it is. We don't get to go race this weekend in the indoor stuff. That was going to be a ton of fun. But there is still racing going to be going on this coming weekend.
Yeah, coming up this coming weekend on the 21st, we do have Extreme XC. They're not going to be racing UTVs, but they are going to keep to their schedule. So if you're interested in UTV racing, it's kind of a bummer, but honestly, there's going to be a lot of good ATV and dirt bike action, and honestly, I would rather have some racing than no racing at all, so perfectly fine with that. It's just the normal, we don't race UTVs on round 1 that a lot of the series tend to do.
Right. And they still abide by the state rule that the governor put out, that, you know, because his basic ruling was for indoor events.
Yeah, it was 250 people or more in the state of Indiana, not talking about Illinois or other states, but in the state of Indiana, 250 or more indoors in an enclosed space. Well, that's not what we do. We race outside.
Yeah. Well, except for what we were going to do this weekend.
Well, there was that. Well, that's why I got canned.
Yeah. So the other thing going on is also AXCC. It's coming up this weekend.
They are going to keep to their schedule as well. So there is UTV happening, but you're going to have to drive all the way to Oklahoma to get there.
Yeah. I think, is that one in Oklahoma? I think it is. Is that the town? Do you know?
That sounds correct.
Yeah. So a little bit of a haul. I am not going to make it there. I was planning on trying to do the monster truck race thing, and just not going to work out. Just too much tossed in the air for my plans, and I can't wrangle it all back in once it's already gone.
Yeah, just confirmed. That is still at the Mid-America Outdoors Complex in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And I just checked their webpage like right now, and as of today, the 15th, when we're recording this, the event is still going on as planned.
Right. If you guys are planning on going, definitely check out AXCC's Facebook page. That's where they're most active. That's where they post closings and things like that. And if it does happen to get rescheduled, I suspect they'll go on per normal. I don't think they're going to change anything. So if you're looking to get out and you're already, off because your work's shut down for a while or whatever, you could go check out Oklahoma AXCC Round 1 racing.
Sure, why not?
And they're racing, a change. I do want to mention this because I don't think we've really talked about it much. Last year, UTVs raced on Sunday. This year, they are on Saturdays. So if you show up Sunday thinking that you're going to watch a UTVs race, you're going to be very late and very short.
Honestly, that is a super welcome change, because the idea of hauling down there, getting down Saturday, unpacking, racing Sunday, getting packed up, and then driving. I mean, a lot of the racers, there are some from the South, but man, a lot of the racers are from the same area we're from, Indiana, Illinois, Ohio. And
right.
To chuck between 10 and 15 hours home and then have to go to work the next day.
Yeah, last year, Round 1 was in Texas. It wasn't very far over the Texas line. It was 5 miles over the Texas line. But I think it was 12 and a half or 13 hours to Steve Mueller's house from Texas. That's who I rode down there with. And Steve's is another 3.5 from my house. So what we did on Sunday, because we raced on Sunday, the last race of the day, I don't remember what time the race started. It was like 2 o'clock or something like that in the afternoon it started. We raced, got done, and it was freezing cold. It was like 32 degrees in Texas.
Yeah, it was bad.
We raced, jumped in the shower, broke down the whole camper and everything, and packed up camp, jumped in the truck, and we drove all through the night to get back. I think we got to Steve's house at around 5 or 6 a.m., something like that, and then I hopped in my truck and drove the rest of the way home after that. No sleep. So
that is a crazy weekend. That is tough to do.
Now,
And I know there's the other people that got moved to Sunday now are thinking the same thing. It's a long drive. It's craziness. But at the risk of sounding like a jerk, better you than me.
Well, and there's a little bit of difference there, because normally quads, a lot of them, I'm going to say better than half, they'll just throw the quad in the back of the truck.
Yeah, it's a lot less extensive of an operation. You don't have to have a trailer or a toy hauler or something along those lines. And
Right, because we're breaking down camp, every time, and that takes an hour or whatever, and it just gets to be a really long, it makes it a long weekend is what it does, because we drove out there. We typically leave on a Friday, drive out, and Saturday we would walk the whole track, get everything set up, make sure the car was ready, and then Sunday was race day, and then pack up and head back.
Yeah.
So
that's still going on as planned, so you can get your UTV fix coming up here pretty quick if you go to AXCC. If you're local and just want racing in general, you can definitely head down to Extreme. They're going to keep their doors open as well. That's really about all that's going on. The next event coming up for MWXC is Round 2, and that's going to be April 4th and 5th. Yeah. They have not moved or canceled that at this point, and there will be UTV racing there.
That should be a good one. We talked a little bit about it last week. It's going to be a lot of fast, open, like logging and fire roads. So that'll be a good one.
And they do race UTVs on Saturday, so you're going to want to show up on April 4th. If you show up on the 5th, you're going to get dirt bikes, which isn't terrible, but not if you were expecting
definitely not
UTVs.
A UTV. Yeah, it's definitely not a UTV.
Yeah.
Let's see. The STM clutch tuning here went well. It did not go down at my house. So just to fill everybody in, I don't. You may not have gotten the same weather I got. Basically, we were kind of soggy going into the week. We started getting rain. We got rain Monday here. I messaged Steve and said, it's already kind of wet. I'm concerned about the amount of rain that we've already gotten, and we're supposed to get more. And lo and behold, Thursday we got another drenching of it, and then Friday into Saturday I got more. So they made the call, and it got switched to Matt Hecker's property, and they did it there. So,
and everything seems to have gone pretty well there. So
STM came out, got the guys all fixed up. Hopefully they're all ready for the season, because I know Steve's heading with his new Pro XP to AXCC, so it's time to go racing. This was the last, I think, key to his little puzzle there, and it's time to go.
Yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully he's got all his hose clamps tightened and all that kind of stuff.
I am sure he has triple-checked them at this point.
So, UTV racing that has already occurred that we haven't really covered yet. We had a couple of requests from some viewers to talk about TexPlex, which I don't know why we hadn't really considered that. I guess there's just other stuff going on. Hadn't really thought about it. But TexPlex has actually already run 3 rounds this year. The first one was on January 2nd, right after New Year's Day. And then they ran again on February 8th, and then most recently on March 6th. So I don't have their schedule in front of me, but I'm guessing that they're going to have another one sometime around the beginning of April if they're going to keep to that schedule.
Yeah. TexPlex, some people, I'm not going to say a lot, some people have called it an XC course. It's not what I am used to an XC course being. It's really more akin to short course.
Yeah.
Or what we call short course around here. So, but still, it looks like a ton of fun. I don't think they have a tree taller than 20 feet on the property. But it's Texas. I mean,
they have shrubs.
Yeah, they have tall shrubs. But it looks like fun. I was watching a live feed from it earlier last week. Someone had posted it, and it was an older one. But it looked like a ton of fun. They got some good hills and jumps there. Not hills, what we call hills. It's man-made jumps and stuff like that, or just some slight elevation change.
And kind of what you'd expect for that style of racing. The Can-Ams are definitely dominant. If I'm looking at round 1, the top 6 spots were all Can-Ams. Round 2, the top 6 spots, with the exception of third, were all Can-Ams. And in round 3, the top 10 spots minus third and fifth were Can-Ams. So pretty dominant out there. The name that you're probably going to jump out and notice is Kyle Hart.
Yep.
And Kyle's run, he was first in round 1, he was first in round 2, he was second in round 2, so he's firmly in command there of the overall. Definitely put down some impressive numbers with that Can-Am machine he's in. What really stuck out to me, though, was moving down into, so that's the Pro Turbo class. If you move down into Pro NA, as you'd expect, the Yamahas are pretty competitive down there. The first 2 rounds, you had a Yamaha in the top spot. Cody Martin in both the first and the second rounds.
Yep.
And then in round 3, he finished 8th, so he fell back a little bit, but still a couple good showings from that Yamaha. But honestly, the Hondas are showing up in the top 5 consistently.
Yeah.
Round 1, you've got Sean Hess ran 3rd, and in round 2, you've got Cross Kirkmeyer ran 3rd, Sean Hess in 4th, and then Cross and Sean ran 2nd and 3rd in round 3. So 2 Honda-powered machines that are starting to creep up there. And in fact, in 5th place in round 3, you had Elliott Cook. So out of the top 5 machines, 3 Hondas.
Yeah. I think they do good in something like that. I don't know. We'll see how they do overall in racing in general, since this is the first full season that they'll have any real race time on any of them.
Yeah.
I do know that DR Power Sports out west, they're running a Talon that's going to be a turbo. Well, it already is a turbo, but I mean, they're going to be running a turbo Talon. I believe he's going to run AXCC, and I'm pretty sure he's going to run the Iowa XC Series. So that'll be interesting to see, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I haven't seen any other turbo ones out there racing yet.
No, all the ones I've seen have been NA as well.
Yeah.
Colin Truitt found himself a win in round 3 in a Polaris, so representing it's kind of funny when you go through there, because actually Colin Truitt has been placing really well. He was second in round 1, second in round 2, first in round 3. So in the Pro NA, good showing for Polaris there. And all I can think of is the Facebook battles over who's making the best machine, but
Yeah.
it is kind of interesting to see where they land.
I think the battle in the NA category is very close between a lot of them. It just more depends on the driver.
The horsepower numbers are all within fractions of each other.
Right. I think we've talked about it. I think in the turbo classes, the Can-Ams are just tough to beat. I think Polaris can do it. It just, they're like at a slight disadvantage. And you guys see behind me, I own one. There's another one sitting there. I like Polaris. I don't think they're bad machines. Just the Can-Ams are built to race. Now we'll see how the Pro XPs do. They haven't really had a season of race on them yet either. So maybe that's the answer to the X3. I don't know.
Time's going to tell.
Yep.
Jubal Cheatwood, who you'll probably remember from the LACC series, has been running in the Pro NA as well, and he's finishing pretty consistent middle of the pack. He was 16th in the first round, but round 2 he was 9th, and in round 3 he was 9th. So kind of hanging out there in the middle of the pack, but good showing from him.
Yep, but as Steve Mueller has proven, that can win you the overall.
Absolutely. If you show up every time and finish, that's the game.
Consistency and finishing will get you there. I mean, consistency in braking won't get you there, but consistency in finishing will get you there.
I was going to say, we consistently broke in 2017, and it didn't do anything for us.
I'll tell you what, guys, that was a rough season.
That was a very rough season. That was a whole lot of not fun. I mean, it was fun, but the standing in the woods waiting to be towed out was not as fun. Now, this guy is my favorite racing name ever, I think. Even above Dick Trickle from NASCAR.
Okay.
So, 1000cc, he runs the Turbo Amateur. His name is Rusty Pipes.
That's pretty good. I like that name.
I like that. I like that a lot.
He has to run an unpainted cage.
I was going to say, if that thing's powder-coated and looks pristine, I'm going to be super disappointed. So now I need to look him up and find out what he's actually driving.
Yep.
And Rachel Cheatwood, who is Jubal's wife, is actually running in the under 900 category.
Yep.
And she finished first in round 3. I'm looking in the other rounds here. First in round 2. We're going backwards just for laughs. And she finished second in round 1. So she's kicking butt down there in the under 900. Very consistent.
Good deal. I mean, I'd like to see more women in racing in general. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, and I don't care if they have their own class. That doesn't bother me one way or the other, but I think that they could get out there and mix it up with the guys every bit as much.
Yeah, and she's proven that right now. I mean, you look at her and, on the big stage, Corey Weller. I mean, there's not a guy on that track that's not afraid of her.
Oh, yeah, and she will put the hurt on any guy out there, and they'd all tell you that. She's fast.
Yeah. So definitely happy to see women going out there and running pretty well. So that's kind of what we got this week. Like I said, a lot of cancellations. We're going to keep up on TexPlex a little bit better for some of the people who are running out there. It's definitely it's kind of a hybrid between cross country and short course.
XC. Yeah,
but I think it's a fun kind of racing to keep up on. It's just one more way we're using UTVs.
I agree.
So we're going to probably can it there. Going to say a huge thank you to all of our sponsors. Of course, CW Motorsports, our title sponsor, Watch Communications, who is hosting the website for us and the podcast version of this show. And we've got Spangs Fab, who is making fantastic aftermarket parts for your racing machines, including full cages and anything else you can think of that you need in terms of protection. Rock sliders, bumpers, whatever you need, they can hook you up with that.
Yep.
And 834 Powder Coat, who is just going to keep all that stuff that Spangs Fab made for you not looking like rusty pipes.
Ha! And 834 got a new shop.
Yeah, he did. I was really, really happy to see that he was able to secure the financing and make things work out. And he's in the very preliminary stages right now of getting like walls painted and equipment moved in, that kind of stuff. But before the end of the year, he'll be running full production out of there and has a lot more room to move around and can take on more work. So,
yeah.
Excited for him. And, you know, I won't say this podcast is doing great things for him, but hopefully we're getting the word out there and people are interested in what they've got to offer.
Yep, fully agree. And if you guys are watching the video version of this on YouTube, go ahead and look down below and you'll see a little subscribe button. Click that if you would, please. That will help us out. And there's a little bell next to us, and if you click that, it will notify you when we upload things.
And stuff.
And stuff and things, yeah.
Because there is more than just Race Pace. We've got other stuff going on as well. In fact, we don't want to pull the lid off it right yet, but we've got a very interesting project that we're going to be working on. It's going to take a ton of time this year, but it's going to be, I think, of great interest to everybody out there who's interested in UTV racing.
Yeah, I think it'll be a really good project. We're not going to go into detail on it at all, but everybody will like it. It'll be thoroughly enjoyable.
You'll find out when it happens.
Yep.
You can find us on the web. If you haven't found us on YouTube already, you can go over to eminentperformance.com, and that will get you all of our sponsor information, show information, everything else as well. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram, where we're pretty active, /Eminent Racing. And you can find the podcast version of this on Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, iHeartRadio, pretty much anywhere you would normally find a podcast. You can probably find this mess as well.
Yep.
All right, everybody. Thanks for riding along with us, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good one, guys.